Welcome to the I'm Healing podcast. I'm your host and healer, Iris L. Mendez of ILM Healing Solutions. If you are watching this on my YouTube channel, make sure that you click subscribe, like, share. And if you're catching this audio on my podcast, make sure that you leave a review, also that you subscribe. And I'm super excited for today's episode. This is, I believe, the second guest that I've had on the podcast this year. So I've got plenty more guests to come. But no worries, I'm going to continue sharing my own healing journey in other episodes for those of you who have been catching up on my life and what's going on with my healing journey. Make sure you catch the previous episodes. I'll have some more updates on my life, but today I have a special guest. I'm excited. This is long overdue. One of my great friends, Aliya, aka the private yogi coach and counselor, aka what is it, Yogi underscore Aliya, or is it Aliya underscore Yogi underscore Aliya, coming straight from LA right now. So she is a bi-coastal yoga instructor, sound bath facilitator. She's just a wonderful soul. She's also a social worker, licensed social worker. Shout out to the social workers. It is March, it's social work month. So shout out to all the social workers. So Aliya, tell us, what is it that you do and services that you offer? Welcome.
Thank you. Hello to the audience. So yeah, like you said, I'm a healer basically, and that encompasses a lot of different modalities: yoga, therapy, sound meditation, Reiki. I think that's the gist of them. So yeah, I'm just into holistic wellness and helping people heal from whatever they need to heal from to live their best life. Including, talk therapy or Reiki or yoga, just whatever the person needs individually to feel better about themselves and be the best version of themselves. So that looks different depending on the person that you're dealing with.
Yes, and you work with populations that range from all walks of life, all age ranges, correct?
Yes, all age ranges, all walks of life, every race. I see children as young as 11. And I don't even know how old my oldest client is, but she's definitely retired. So a full range of people, because everyone, needs healing. Everyone can benefit from the services that we have to offer.
Yes, and I love what you're doing. Your story and journey has been inspiring for me to watch. For those who don't know how I know Aliya, we actually did yoga teacher training together way back when. It seems so long ago now, in 2018. She's originally from New Jersey and literally just packed up our bags and moved all the way across the country. I miss you on this side, but I'm happy that you took that leap. It's truly inspiring to see your journey. So tell me a little bit how you pivoted out of, as far as your healing journey goes, especially as a social worker, right? Social work month. How did you pivot out of the realm of providing more formal services to what you're doing now? Tell me a little bit about what sparked that journey for you.
Very interesting question. It makes the first thing that comes to mind when you ask that is you are exactly where you were supposed to be, because I wouldn't say I intentionally made that transition. LSW, I've been at LSW since 2013, maybe 2014. And the goal was always to become a licensed clinical social worker, which would allow me to have private practice and do therapy and everything I'm actually doing now. I just thought I needed that clinical license first to have like the private practice aspect of it and to be able to build insurance and just to be my own boss, not have anyone overseeing me and having me think I can't do certain things with my license. But I never did get the clinical license through the social work board because my position as a program manager was administrative and the board didn't feel that the work I was doing was clinical. And that just had me sit back and reevaluate, what I was doing. By the time the board gave me the final no on my clinical license, I believe I already had the yoga certification and I might have started the Reiki level 1 practitioner certification. So I already started incorporating other modalities of wellness into my practice. And I realized how beneficial they were. And you didn't really have to focus on diagnosing and clinical treatment, that those terms in itself can be intimidating. And the system, the way it's designed, I don't believe it's to the benefit of the general public. It's more just, I don't know how else I would describe it, but to meet with someone and diagnose them within 50 minutes, it just isn't right. And then every social worker I know and every clinical practitioner I know is worried about their license all the time. Oh my God, my license. And the board really has you trapped in this box. So me not getting that clinical license was actually a gift and a benefit. I would have never left Jersey if I got that clinical license. I probably would be at my same position as the program manager, holding it down, because once you get that status and you have that license, the system does something to you. I want to hold on to it and grow in that regard. So me not getting that was a blessing. I decided at that time to just focus on the other aspects of wellness. I since then, took Reiki all the way to master's level, incorporated sound bowls into my practice, and left New Jersey to start over in another state. And I'm still here planting roots, but I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I don't regret, working in the program, pursuing the clinical license, because if not, it would have always been a what if. But the transition over to the type of work I do now just happened naturally. And one more thing I actually want to add to that, because I still am doing therapy as a LSW under a clinician. And I have a new supervisor who reassured me that, she didn't feel that the clinical world and the world I'm in had to be so divided or so different. Her perspective was that, what I do isn't too far from clinical work. So I didn't have to feel like I wasn't in that world at all. And I just appreciated that, because other clinicians will kind of shun what we do. So, I don't know.
No, thank you for sharing that. That was, definitely, I feel very aligned with that, because we have similar journeys in that respect. And not to say like, there's anything wrong with seeking clinical support or mental health or diagnoses or even quote unquote evidence-based practice, right? But for us, we understand that one, we feel more fulfilled when we honor the way that we provide services to people in a different way. And that's where the yoga comes in, right? I've seen you in yoga teacher training. I've seen you then go ahead and get your sound bowl, training, and then go all the way to that Reiki master. And so, the journey is inspiring in and of itself. And so for me, when I look at people who take these leaps, like you said, you're exactly where you're supposed to be, but knowing that you were not saying you weren't where you were not meant to be before, because all of those experiences made you who you are. And I always like to say, from a standpoint, I talk to my coaching clients about this, like transferable skills, like there's a way for us to utilize our experiences and our skill set, if we want to pivot into other realms. So I love your journey. I love your story. What most inspires me, is that leap of faith to just kind of get up and move. So tell me a little bit more about, packing your bags. I remember seeing you posting things of you literally at some sort of yard sale or flea market where you're literally selling all of your stuff. And I look at those stories, probably because there's a little part of me inside that has always wanted to take that kind of like huge jump, being from Jersey and then only moving, I don't say only, right, minimizing myself there, but moving just a state over to PA. I've always thought about taking that leap of maybe going across the country or maybe going to a different country, who knows? So tell me, how that journey was for you, how that helped you even in your healing process, because I know you also travel a lot, which we will get into too. So go ahead and share some of that journey for us.
Well, I don't even remember when I made the initial thought to want to make that move, but my sister went at the top of 2020 before COVID happened. So just to acknowledge, I don't know that I would have made the leap if she wasn't already here. She went what a year and a half, 2 years before me. So I was always hesitant. Actually, I was supposed to go with her, and I was in a relationship, and it didn't happen at that time. And then she was putting pressure on me to come, and it wasn't right for me when she put the pressure on me. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but I left my formal position, my traditional work, August 2020. I ended my relationship not too long before that. And I would say by October 2020, after I left the job, after I left the relationship where I can sit and really think about what's next for me, is when I made the official decision, okay, I'm going to sell my home and start to make the move to California, because I didn't have anything tying me to the area. With the job, with the relationship, those were always easy excuses to put that kind of goal on hold. So I really kind of had to release those things to be true to myself, because I knew I wasn't happy with exactly where I was. And then once I made that decision, I believe it was October 2020 to officially move to California. I started to outgrow the area genuinely. You know, I didn't care to go to any of the restaurants anymore in the area. Dining and restauranteering is my favorite thing to do. So that's saying a lot. I was just no longer excited about the restaurants. The food didn't even taste as good to me anymore. Everywhere I went, I saw someone I knew from high school, from college. It was just, I've truly outgrown the area. I was itching to get out of that comfort zone. It's kind of like that meme. I don't know if you've ever seen it, where a shark is in a tank and they say the shark will not outgrow the tank that it's in. That's kind of how I felt in Atlantic County. I
Yes.
knew I had to get out of Atlantic County to be an even bigger, better version of myself. I outgrown the area, I felt like, you know, it was just nothing exciting anymore. So it had to happen. And then I just took the steps. I listed my home. I got rid of everything. There was definitely a lot of discomfort with that and uncertainty, but I remember that looking back wasn't, you know, staying wasn't an option. So I had to keep on going. And even now that I'm here, it's like, oh, why did I have to sell that stuff? I could use some of that stuff out here, but you know, it was just the journey that I had to do. And yeah, I did it.
That's amazing. And even just saying you kind of outgrew it. I love that analogy of that shark. I have seen that you grew the area. I mean, for those of you who don't know where she's from, Atlantic County, southern New Jersey is like near Atlantic City. So to say that you got, tired of like the same, I mean, there's a lot of places to eat out there. Yeah, there's a lot of things to do. So that says a lot. And so here you are blooming in a different way. And even if you got rid of some of that stuff, girl, stuff holds on to energy. So you didn't need to bring none of that probably. It was meant to be. It
Right.
was meant to be. So tell me a little bit about how you have been planting your roots out in, you're in LA, California, out in my head, California, like that's what came in my head. Um, tell me, what services you're offering out there now. How have you been able to like plant some seeds while you've been out? Because you've been out there now, how long?
It's
Since
been 5 months. One month of which I was back in Jersey. So technically I feel like I've been here maybe a little over 4 months, but 5 months altogether. And yeah, so when I came out here, literally like my first week, I went to a sound bath on the beach with an agency called The Calming Spot. Just, I wasn't even going to go, but I was with my friend and her friends were going. It's not even my friend's thing, but her friends were going and she invited me. And fast forward, now I work and do sound baths at The Calming Spot because that friend who invited her saw that they were hiring and sent me a DM on Instagram and, told me to apply. And I did, and they saw what I posted on Instagram, and they liked what they saw just based on that, and they gave me the opportunity. So that in itself, I think, was just divine alignment for me to be at a sound bath, literally not even 7 days out here, and to now be working with the agency who was hosting the sound bath, within 3-4 months. On top of that, that agency is brand new. Like they only started doing sound baths, maybe I would say no more than 6 months before I got here. And they've grown so much and expanded so much, and they hired a bunch of teachers. So I'm grateful for that opportunity in itself. From that, I've gotten a couple Reiki consultations, and hopefully some people will book. I actually have a consultation later on today. So that's what I'm doing with the yoga world, hoping to host more private Reiki at my home office here. And as far as yoga, I'm not placed with a studio just yet, but I do host meetup events. So every Sunday I'm at the same park and I'm building a private community. Very small, but I have some regulars now just coming to do yoga with me. I'm going to host some hikes like we did with the Philadelphia Hiking Hills, something similar to that, just identifying locations out here to hike at and have healing discussion, meditations. It's not something that it's something I do wish I could have started sooner. I've been out here 5 months and I'm still getting my feet wet. I'm grateful for all I have done, but I'm not, doing as much here as I was doing in New Jersey yet. So it's definitely a work in progress.
I think you should give yourself definitely more credit for that, because it's hard for people to move and like start fresh and start new. There are these like worries and insecurities and fears of like, what if, and here you are, like, making it happen. And I think that that's a testament to your growth, like just as your friend speaking, like I've watched you grow so much, and like just seeing your aesthetics and how you're posting things. And I want to go to Cali and go to a sound bath. I want to, you really inspire me in that way. And so I want to know from your standpoint, like I know your specialty is crystal sound bowls, correct? Crystal
Yeah, the
sound
crystal
bowls.
bowls. Yep. I have a couple
How,
Tibetans, but crystals.
okay.
Yeah.
How has crystal sound baths and or yoga or Reiki help you personally in your own healing journey?
I just love the idea of my healing journey because I've been on my healing journey. I always say 10 years, but at this point it's been about 12 because I keep getting older. But it's just, I don't know. 12 years ago, I would say I started, going to private therapy. This was before I had a master's degree. Fast forward, I got my master's degree. That in itself was healing. Going through the education to learn how to be a therapist was therapy for me. Fast forward working as a therapist and having the empathy and the compassion for people that I'm working with based on my own experiences was healing for me. It let me know everything I've been through was so I can help people going through similar things. But everything came full circle when I started going to yoga. I believe it was, I don't even remember the year, truthfully. I started going to yoga, maybe 2018, maybe 2017, maybe 2016. I really don't remember. But I don't know how it works, but the progress you make on your mat really does come up in life off the mat. Just from the way you learn to breathe, the way you learn to sit with yourself, the way you learn to become comfortable when things are uncomfortable, pushing yourself to your edge. So mastering those skills on the mat, during the yoga practice really helped me to elevate in my personal life, just be crazy. So yeah, yoga I think was the most impactful for me personally in my own healing journey, which is why I became a yoga teacher and wanted to share that with others. So yoga is healing for me to do, but as far as my work with other people, I really enjoy talk therapy and I really enjoy Reiki. Sound I think is great. I like hosting sound baths with groups, but I'm not really an expert in sound healing with one-on-one. So I don't, I'm sure there's great benefits there, and I would like to explore that further. But that I definitely would require more training in. So I would just say yoga has been magical and healing for me. I like helping other people through the Reiki and the talk therapy. All of it is interrelated and beneficial. And yeah, I feel most empowered just sharing what I know with other people.
I love that. And I love the idea, or not even the idea, but it's almost like you and I have experienced both. So I'm just going to call it fact that you like how you treat yourself on your mat, right? Is how you treat yourself in real life. And I say that to my coaching clients all the time. So a lot of times when people will come to me, I don't know if you get this experience too, when they want like a one-on-one yoga session or they say they want to try yoga, it's almost like this hesitation of oh, my body doesn't flex that way, or oh, I can't do it, yoga's not for me. And it's a yoga's for everybody, not, and I'm saying everybody in every space body, because the idea is that if you're judging yourself in tree pose because you fall out of tree pose, or if you can't hold a balance, or you're in your head about perception of what you look like, all these things, judgment, shame, blame, like all of that that's showing up on that mat, 9 times out of 10 that is showing up in your day-to-day life constantly.
100%. Yep, exactly.
Constantly. And so that for me is one of the most profound things that how yoga has helped me, and just being able to energetically release things from the body. And so yoga, meditation, sound healing, all of these things are all great modalities. One other modality that I would say that is not really a modality, it's not a modality, it's not really talked about, it's healing through travel. And I've seen your journey. I think you were in Brazil last year, were you in Africa? I think you were also,
Yeah.
you obviously Florida, state wise, different places in Florida. You've held different retreats. I think you just had one in the Poconos and
Right.
PA. So tell me how travel has been a profound way of healing for you.
I've been so blessed and so grateful for my travel experiences, especially in the last 2 years. Um, and it's really something that happened for me more than I put effort into it. And I want to give this strictly to just the laws of attraction and manifestation. First I had my relationship that I was in for a little over 4 years. And when I started dating this person, he and I agreed to at least take 2 vacations, or I think we said 2 vacations a year. And we were able to do that. And so people kind of noticed I was traveling a little bit. And then even just doing the yoga is very attractive to the community. So some people that I know from around the way who travel a lot, reached out to me and then started inviting me on some of their trips. So that's when I was able to go to Seychelles, which is like a 15-hour flight on the other side of the world. And Brazil, which is, so far down in South America. So I wasn't thinking so big in that regard. So I was just grateful to meet those people and be invited to those experiences. And since I've opened up to those experiences, more and more experiences have just been coming in. So I would just say that's strictly for me, the laws of attraction. And it has been healing for me just to link up with other women, women of color who are doing so well and traveling the world and just doing things that, our ancestors and maybe our parents weren't able to do. So it's just nice to kind of break some of those generational curses and show ourselves and people, that are peers, that this is possible to do. So it has been healing in the regard that, of course, it's an amazing experience. And then also I'm doing something that I never even really would have thought that I was doing. It just kind of happened for me. And thank God the means and the resources were there to kind of see it through. So yeah, I don't really know what else I could say about it. It's just been a blessing to be able to experience it. And I definitely want to keep the goal. I love the idea of taking a flight really every month. I fell in love with airplanes and being at the airport and all this experience. I don't mind it at all. Maybe it'll get old, but right now I'm just still like high on the whole experience. So yeah.
I love that. And again, that's also inspiring for me. I'll share. I actually just got on my first flight since the before times, I'll call them. The before times, we all know what the before times are. Um, and so for me, I think I was anxiously avoiding getting on a plane because of the idea of wearing a mask, the idea of being around a lot of people or large circles. Uh, for me, I have been a little bit more hermit crabbed or reserved for the past 2 years, I would say. I mean, I'm still out and about socializing here and there when I can, but it's been limited for the past 2 years. And even for me, getting on that flight was so peaceful, and so it reminded me that you can heal through travel, through switching up your routine, really is what I think is the most powerful thing about it. I was listening to this manifestation YouTube thing, and they were talking about, quote, getting out of the matrix. And like what they said about getting out of the, quote, matrix was um to switch up your routine. So, for example, if take one route every day to go to work, or if walk every day outside of your house and you take the same streets, switch it up, switch up your routine, see a different scenery, see what else is out there. I mean, it's happened for me in my area where I came across a local trail and creek that I didn't even know was behind my apartment complex. But thinking about that, for me, I would say that seeing you travel has definitely inspired me to be like, okay, girl, get out that comfort zone, because where does growth happen? It happens outside that comfort zone. So and I know that you say, people from around the way, it's so ironic how everything's aligned, because some of the people in your circle that you have traveled with is people that I went to college with. So I see them and I'm like, okay, I've been in their same frequency. Or like, Journey, I think she has her thing is Journey with Janae.
Right.
Janae, Janae has always been a traveler.
Yeah.
And even her, and I hope she used to hear this, even her pictures and images of her, I think she was just in Hawaii, and showing her pictures of being in a different place. So anybody who's listening, if you if you are questioning, obviously, if you have the funds, just book the flight. Just book the flight. Just do it. Even if it's not a flight, get on a train and travel somewhere. See someplace different from a different experience, and switch up your routine somehow. So with that said, I want to ask you a little bit more about just healing in general. And I always ask this to all of my guests. I always ask, like, what does the word heal mean to you? It can be an acronym, it can be, one word, or just a handful of words. Like, in general, what does to heal or healing mean to you?
So healing to me means finding your journey back to wholeness, back to yourself, back to home, finding who you are and being comfortable with the person you are, being able to be vulnerable and self-reflect. So I don't know how to put that all into one word or one. It's a what's the word? It's a layered topic. It's not, there's levels. There's so many levels to healing. But the goal is to reach a level of peace where you truly love yourself and you truly love other people, despite their flaws. And you're able to cope with the bullshit that life will throw at you. And you won't take it as a means that you're not worthy, you're not deserving, you're not good enough. Because if you're still struggling with those kind of thoughts, then there's more healing that needs to take place. So that's what I believe it is, like a journey to an sort of an eternal state of peace, a heaven on earth, however we can create that. I believe it looks different on everybody, but everybody needs healing, because we're damaged before we even realize, before we ever got a chance. It all starts in childhood. It starts with, the way our parents nurture us, the way we are accepted by our peers, the way we fit in standardized systems. And it does nothing but reinforce competition and comparison and all those things that actually you mentioned earlier on the yoga mat. We naturally do those things because of the way society and life has shaped us since childhood. And I believe it's not to put fault on society. It's just human nature, and everyone, I would say, is doing the best they can. Not everybody is conscious that they need healing or that they need to embark on this journey. So the first step is waking up and having some awareness of it. But yeah, long story short, healing is, I believe it is life work, because again, things will come up, tragedies will happen. I'm scared. I don't even want to mention some of the tragedies that life can throw at you, but you have to be able to overcome adversity, love yourself through it all. And that takes work. That is so much easier said than done.
I love that so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. So to wrap this all up, I don't know if there's anything else you want to share with the people, or anything about your healing journey in general, or even just how they can find you. Let them know while we still have them here. Thank you for everybody tuning in. Let us know.
Yeah. So first, definitely find me on Instagram at Yogi_Aliya. However, I am on a 30-day fast. So I'm not on Instagram for the month of March. Minus, I'll probably go on there to post, promotion for this podcast and a few other things. But Instagram, Yogi_Aliya. You can email me, the private yogi coach at gmail.com. My website is the private yogi coach and counselor.com. You could just go on there to see the services that I offer. But I really just want to share what I know with other people. Energy is real. You have the power to create the life that you want and attract everything to you that you deserve. It starts with believing that it's possible for you, stepping out of your comfort zone, doing things a little differently. And I would love to just help people do that, because I'm so blessed and grateful that I've been able to do that. I've been able to think big. I've been able to step out of my comfort zone. And this is despite, what people in my direct circle tell me I should be doing. If it was up to people around me, I'd probably still be in New Jersey. Not that they don't want to see me thrive, but, I moved out here without a job. So people had a lot to say about that in itself. I moved out here without an apartment, so that in itself wasn't, a lot of people won't take that step. But I know I can motivate, encourage, and inspire people to shift their mindset and live their best life. So that's the work that I love to do. And I want to just help other people do the same.
I love that. Thank you so much. And again, that's Yogi_Aliya. That's Aliya. I will be posting all of that in the show notes as well as in the caption underneath this YouTube video. I do want to touch on one of the things you said, which is so profound about people sharing, or not even sharing, but people having thoughts about your decisions that you make. And I literally just posted this the other day where it's like, we've got to understand that people only operate from their own level of their own limitations. And their limitations are scarce mentality, scarce mindset, limited mindset. I follow Nehemiah Davis. He always calls it stinking thinking. So that's at Neil DeViso for those of you, definitely follow him. But the thinking thinking, people only they're only able to meet you where their own frame of thinking stops at, if that makes sense. So it's like you can't tell somebody with a limited thinking pattern that they have limited thinking pattern, because they're not critically thinking enough to be open-minded enough to even be receptive to receive that information. And so even for me, like I've experienced this recently with a relative where I was explaining like a plan that I had, and that person said something along the lines of just very limited thinking, things that weren't even factual about the situation. And so for me, I'm like, old Iris would have probably listened to that. Old Iris would have been like, Dag, they're right. I shouldn't be thinking about doing that, or I shouldn't be doing this. Knowing that move could probably pivot my life in the same way your move pivoted for you. I mean, to move across the country without a job and without a roof over your head, even thinking about that, I get a little bit of anxiety, but also also it's excitement, and that's how we have to remember anxiety shows up as nervousness and excitement. So you're going to own the nervousness or you're going to own the excitement.
Right.
And we really can't let other people's limited thinking, scarce mentality, and even their own fears stop us from pursuing our dreams. Really, it's what it boils down to. So
100%, yeah.
thank you again so much. Check her out in LA. She will, she's bi-coastal, so it's coast to coast. It reminds me of that song, I've been around the world. But thank you again for being here. You guys again follow her, Yogi_Aliya. Again, I'll put her information in the notes. And as far as updates go for me, make sure that you are tuning into the podcast, that you're subscribing. Also, I have a few events coming up. They're all sold out, so I'm excited about that. I'll be speaking at a brunch in New Jersey, and I'll also be doing a yoga event at the Biz Bruja. I'm excited for that retreat, also in Duncannon, PA. So I'll be sharing more events. Be sure to get my book, Healing My Four Bodies, an interactive guide to self-inquiry and solutions for the soul. Thank you so much to everybody who has been supporting, purchasing, sending me your book selfies, reviews. Like it literally makes my day when I see this, because even this alone was a leap of faith for me to complete. And I'm gonna say this out loud because I know that Aliya is gonna eventually join the author circle. I know that. I'm gonna speak that into existence.
Oh, it's in process.
Yes, writing a book, girl. And I'm officially on TikTok, y'all, the TikTok block at ilm_healing. I have been on TikTok for officially a day now. So make sure that you follow me on TikTok. I'm still learning. With all that said, as always, thanks for being here and happy healing. Namaste.